a little shadowy, but he said he expected that in the shadow of the lunar module. Armstrong is on the moon. Neil Armstrong, 38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon on this July 20th, 1969.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I think that was Neil's quote. I didn't understand it.
No, one small step for man, but I didn't get the second phrase. One of our monitors here at our space headquarters is able to hear that. We'd like to know what it was.
The surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in the fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boots.
His quote was, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads in the fine sandy particles. Neil, this is Houston. We're copying.
Oh, thank you, television, for letting us watch this one.
Isn't this something? 240 miles, 1,000 miles out there in the moon, and we're seeing this.
There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around.
See, that's good news.
The descent engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating from the descent engine, but very insignificant amount.
To hurry up and fix that simulation.
Now we're getting a negative picture back. Switch to negative polarity.
Are we ready to bring down the camera? I'm all ready. I think it's 2 miles squared away in good shape. Okay.
That's
Okay, you'll have to pay out all the LEC. It looks like it's coming out nice and evenly.
That's the equipment conveyor, that tether line.
Quite dark here in the shadow, and a little hard for me to see it. I have good footing. I'll work my way over into the sunlight here without looking directly into the sun.
I don't know where in the Houston converter or where this picture has gone to negative polarity, but we hope we get it fixed shortly. At least we can make out the figure of Neil Armstrong there.
Unofficial time on the first step, 109.2420.
I think you're pulling the wrong one. Okay, I'm ready to pull it down now. There was still a little bit left in the... Okay, don't hold it quite so tight. Okay?
As we said, this is like a clothesline. It's going to bring down a sequence camera now for pictures. And then a little later on in the...
Looking up at the lamp, I'm standing directly in the shadow now, looking up at both in the windows. And I can see everything quite clearly. The light is sufficiently bright, backlighted into the front of the lamp, that everything is very clearly visible.
So man's first words, Neil Armstrong's first words, setting foot on the moon.
Okay, I'm going to be changing it.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. He found the bottom step of the ladder. slightly awry, but says it gives no difficulty in climbing back up to the lunar module when they complete this walk. He's found the surface far more powdery than they had anticipated. He's sinking in by about 1/8 of an inch. You can see his footprints in the fine particles, lunar dust adhering to his boot. No difficulty in moving around, easier than the simulations on Earth. He has about 25 minutes of activity here alone on the moon's surface, testing the environment, moving around like this, taking a good look at the lunar module, which he's given us a check on. Seems to be in good shape. Very little scoring of the moon's surface by the descent propulsion system engine. The pads settled nicely, but not very deeply into this fine powdery sand, or fine powdery surface of the moon. Apparently it's in good position to provide the platform for takeoff, or we have heard something about that by now from him.
The surgeon says that
Camera installed on the ICU bracket.
the surgeon says the crew is doing well. Data is good, crew is doing well.
And I'm still in the LEC on the secondary strut.
That would seem to indicate that they're not overexerting, I gather.
That's good
They're
news.
not
That's
using
right.
too much oxygen, or they're not big enough, too much heat for the cooling system.
Another one of our concerns erased, the fact that there isn't that much work, they're not
I'll
stressing
step
on it.
out and take some of my first pictures here.
He's got the Hasselblad camera with him now. I think that's the one that was lowered to him for still pictures. It's not the sequence camera, which I believe stays in the lunar module.
Roger, Neil, we're reading you loud and clear. Let's see, get some pictures and the contingency sample.
I think that the flight plan actually called for him to take the contingency sample first and then the pictures. As I recall all my reading of the plan up to now, the contingency sample went
35.5 minutes of PLSS time expended now.
too, that they're on a very level place there, which is good, and was partly because of his own skill in making that manual landing after it looked like they were coming down in a very rough area.
You know, it may be that Neil elected not to gather up a contingency sample because he feels there's no contingency here. He's showing great confidence that they'll do everything they intend to do.
It very well could be.
This is Houston. Did you copy about the contingency sample? Over. All right, you're going to get to that just as soon as I finish these picture series.
Well, he kind of twisted the order around a little bit. You may be right, Wally, as to what's in his mind, because the contingency sample really is superfluous if they go on with the rest of the walk and get the full samples, the 100 pounds or so of rock, and the documented samples of rock, in which they identify rock by rock, where they got it, and picture where they got it, and all that sort of thing. Although Newell's kind of shaking his head there about that. I think Newell Trask wants that contingency sample first, just like I said in the flight plan. Want to be sure he gets that pocket full of surface rock.
Make sure we get something.
Right.
I have an idea we're going to get everything we want.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just going so beautifully.
The moving around and the exertion that they're showing in doing that, or that Neil's showing so far, is, of course, the great thing that they've learned already. And
Okay, going to get the contingency sample there. All right.
now Aldrin's been bugging him for it. Commander's going to get tired of those kibitzers in a minute and get them up to the contingency sample just to quiet them. Nag, nag, nag.
They stepped out of the field of view. I wonder what he's up to now.
Okay, the contingency sample is down and it's up sample.